Welcome back to the archive. History remembers every army, except this one. Some 5,000 Roman soldiers marched into the mist of the empire's frontier, and then the record simply stops. Their name was the Legio IX Hispana, the Ninth Legion, the Spanish. Founded around 58 BCE, they were among Rome's oldest and most storied fighting units, veterans of campaigns across the known world. For a century, they were everywhere Rome needed steel. They fought in the empire's numerous battles, their eagle carried from Spain to the cold northern frontiers. To be enrolled in the Ninth was to belong to a machine that seemed unstoppable. But an army this celebrated should have an ending, a final battle, a monument, a line in the annals. The Ninth has none of that. At some point, the legion that had marched across the world simply vanishes from the historical record. The central question haunts historians still. What caused the complete disappearance of Legio IX Hispana after its time on Rome's northern frontier? An entire legion, thousands of men, gone without a clear last chapter. Hold that question in your mind. An army does not evaporate. Somewhere between the frontier forests and the missing pages of Rome's chronicles lies the truth. And the deeper we dig, the stranger it becomes. To understand the mystery, we must travel to Germania, the vast forested land beyond the Rhine. To Roman eyes, it was a green wilderness of mist, bog, and endless trees, where legions marched into shadow and did not always march back out. In the year 9 CE, this frontier swallowed a Roman disaster so complete it became legend. 3 legions under the commander Varus were lured into the Teutoburg forest and destroyed in an ambush that shook the empire to its core. The architect of that ambush was Arminius, a Germanic chieftain who had served in the Roman army, learned its methods, and then turned them against his former masters. He knew exactly how a legion moved and exactly how to break one. And here, the trail toward the Ninth grows tangled. The legion's last firm records place it on this very frontier, in this very theater of war. Its involvement in the doomed Teutoburg campaign is well documented, yet what happened next is not. The Romans were meticulous record keepers. They carved achievements in stone and listed their legions like a proud family tree. So, when a unit as famous as the Ninth quietly disappears from that tree, the silence itself becomes evidence. What we know comes only in fragments. Roman historians such as Tacitus and Cassius Dio wrote about the empire's frontier catastrophes. Yet, the specific end of the Ninth slips through even their careful accounts, leaving only broken threads to follow. That gap in the writing is the true heart of the mystery. It leaves us not with an answer, but with a set of unsettling questions, and each one pulls the story in a different direction. Question 1. Did the legion simply perish? Wiped out in a frontier disaster like Teutoburg, its survivors too few and too scattered to record, its eagle lost in the mud, and its name too shameful for Rome to dwell on. The Romans hated to record defeat. A humiliating loss might be quietly buried. The survivors folded into other units, the number itself left to fade. Erasure in that world was a form of damage control. But there is a second, stranger possibility. Not annihilation, assimilation. Some historians argue the men of the Ninth did not all die, but were absorbed over time into the very tribes they had once fought. It is not as far-fetched as it sounds. Captured soldiers, deserters, and stragglers could and did settle among frontier peoples. If enough of the Ninth's men lived on beyond the empire's reach, the legion would still cease to exist as Rome. And here is the debate historians still cannot settle. Did the Ninth ultimately perish, or do their descendants live on unknown among the peoples of the North? Both readings fit the fragments. Neither can be proven. So historians turned from the pages to the earth itself. Across Germany, over many years, archaeological finds have hinted at the military conflicts in which the Legion might have been engaged, buried clues waiting beneath field and forest. Corroded armor, scattered coins, weapon fragments, the scars of old battlefields. Each discovery raises the same tantalizing possibility. Could one of these silent sites be the last resting place of the Ninth? Yet no single find has ever declared, "Here lies the Ninth." The evidence tantalizes without confirming. And so the older question resurfaces. Could there be hidden records still waiting in some undiscovered archive to close the case at last? Before we reach the end, ask yourself this. Why would an empire that carved its every triumph in marble choose to say so little about the fate of one famous legion? Sometimes silence is not an accident. Sometimes it is a decision. That question of silence may be the real key. Some scholars suspect the loss was deliberately downplayed, that a defeat too painful to admit was allowed to fade, and with it the precise fate of the men who marched under the eagle of the Ninth. So where does the trail finally lead? To an honest and unsettling answer, we do not know. Destroyed in a frontier ambush, scattered and absorbed into the tribes, or quietly erased from memory, every path remains open. The disappearance of Legio IX Hispana remains one of ancient Rome's greatest enigmas, an entire army that stepped out of history and left only a gap where its ending should be. Somewhere, perhaps, the missing pages still exist. Until those pages surface, the Ninth marches only in our imagination, forever crossing a misty frontier from which it never quite returns. The archive never truly closes, it only waits. Discover the story behind Legio IX Hispana and what it means for our understanding of Roman military history. Subscribe and follow the dust.